There seems to be a black hole with the strategy in relation to adults who are autistic and who have children and autistic children, which is a bit of a pity because autism can run in families. I found that how I present as an autistic has been interpreted as a presentation of my character, of my personality, and that is not necessarily the case, and I should hope it's not the case with some of the things that have been thought of me.
We need to look at how social care facilitates and enables disabled people to be fully functioning in the community as possible, whether that's through work, whether it's independent living, whether that's being involved socially. I think the difficulty with the autism strategy is that it really is a starting point for a process that will continue for quite a while.
The autism strategy talks about lots of things, but it's still got lots of gaps in it. We need to start having conversations around social and leisure opportunities, more in-depth discussion with what's going on already, but also about capitalising with those people who are under the age of adulthood, because there's no clear definition of what an adult is. At the moment, we're reviewing for the last 3 years, but it's already 2 years late. So my concern is, what's going to be done about that? How are they going to look at the broader picture? Because local authorities are very different.
I think for a lot of maybe smaller employers or maybe staff on the ground level within workforces, so not in HR departments, they maybe don't understand autism, they don't know as much about it, and therefore they are unsure of what that person may or may not need, may or may not be able to do.
No allowance was made in that interview for Helen's autism, so she's just gone in like anybody else off the street. She scored really well at 27 out of 30. Now, you would have thought somebody could say, oh gosh, this person's got autism, but she still scored 27, which is brilliant. For people that know autism and what it's about, it's an incredible score. And for them not to be able to realise just how good she must be to be able to do that. She wants to work, she's capable of working, she'd be over the moon if she got a job. She's not a skiver or trying to avoid work, and it's not right that people like Helen are not able to get work.
With regard to the experience and abilities of those working within the system, it can vary enormously. Their understanding of autism may be very good in some cases, they may have personal experience, and so I really do think that specific autism training is extremely important.
Training is absolutely crucial, but once again it's ongoing training. By getting a variety of people in from a variety of expertise and backgrounds.
We need a whole range of services, both from sort of fully staffed opportunities to supported living, to independent living opportunities, and quite often even with independent living that still means that there needs to be perhaps some backup for those people.
There's no plan of where you are. So when you're asking for services, there's no plan of where you are now and where you want to be and the path that you need to take to get there. So you're always in limbo.
Several months ago we heard from our local authority that they were trying to get young adults with learning disability and autism into local authority sheltered housing. For our son Simon, we didn't feel that was the right step at all. It would be very hard for him to adapt to a new situation. He's happy in the home he's lived in for the last 8 years, and it would actually be very detrimental to his mental health and well-being. Simon does not cope with change, and it's not a question of one size fits all.
We did acknowledge that there were some services in the area, that had been developed to support people, but it was largely voluntary organisations, charity sector that actually picked up on those gaps rather than any statutory services being developed. So.
My mother, being a teacher, teaches many autistic children in special needs classes, and many of their parents, some of them, their status in the community means they can't openly expose their children and say my child's autistic through fear of how they will be judged, their employers see them, the neighbours, the family.
I'd love to see the government providing more support for people in special care, in special needs. There are many people who just slip through the net. There are many people whose needs aren't being met because of lack of funding. And so I'd really like to see the government make more provision for people with severe learning difficulties. As I've said before, one cap does not fit all. Just because one person fits well into a supported living system, it doesn't mean everyone can cope with that. So my prayer, or my plea, is that the government start making more provision for people like Simon.
The government has dramatically failed me. I have spent 15 years trying to self-manage autism for the simple reason every GP I turn to, every crisis team and mental health department I turn to refuse me the help I so desperately need on the grounds we're sorry, we don't have these facilities, we can't afford this funding.
The autism strategy hasn't represented itself at all in our lives as a family. Put your statistics and your data and your spreadsheets to one side for one day and just go and walk a mile in our shoes, live our life for one day, and then go back and review your thoughts on that data.